This presentation will provide some information and details about the evacuation portion of ALICE drills. We've practiced the alert, the lockdown, the inform piece in some fashions. We have not practiced the counter specifically, but this presentation in particular will focus on the evacuate piece. And so when we alert, someone either is on the intercom alerting that we need to go into ALICE drill, or that there's an intruder in the building, or there's an automated message that we can initiate on our Cisco phones that alerts of somebody in the building and the need to go into our safety drill. The lockdown piece, that's what we have practiced basically for the past 2 years. Children are away from windows, the lights are out, the doors are barricaded with as much furniture as possible. Everybody's quiet. And we have the magnet strips in the door jambs to make that a quicker transition. So doors can always stay locked. And all we have to do is pull the magnet and shut the door. And we do a really good job at that piece. So that's why we think it's now time that we move to really practicing and refining the rest of ALICE. The inform, we put a star by, because I'll talk about that on the next slide. Again, counter is the last measure. It's not something we're going to specifically practice, but it is something that we can talk about with the children. And then we'll talk about the evacuate. So when we inform, ideally we would have someone over the intercom the whole time, locked in a room where we can also access our camera feeds. Unfortunately, in our building, we do not have many cameras that face inside, that are in the hallways as middle schools and high schools do. So it's not really a viable option for us, or it's not really a helpful option. So we are working on ways that we can get over the intercom quickly. So even if, let's just say I'm not by a monitor, but I'm out in the building when we have to initiate this protocol, that I can still get on the intercom quickly to help inform. And then we will finish the group text, and that's one thing I think is going to help us all stay in touch. Danielle and I will be checking with each of you to make sure we have correct numbers, and then that'll just be the way that we communicate for any kind of safety protocol. And we will not use it or send out unless it is a safety protocol, so that everybody knows if you see a message come from us in that group message, then that means something is going on. This map shows the primary evacuation routes that we use for our fire drills. And so this can be your thinking for if you were to choose to evacuate. These would be the doors you would choose to evacuate from, because most of these doors are the ones that will give you the quickest access to the outside from where your room is located. This arrow is pointing to a link that will take you to a document titled Evacuation Plans. And basically it's just a written form of what you see on this map. And so let's talk about when to evacuate. And so it's not really ALICE protocol to designate a specific time to evacuate. Teachers have to make, and staff have to make the best decision they can with the information they have as to whether it's safest to remain locked down with the doors off, with the doors lights off, doors barricaded, or if it's safer to go ahead and exit the building and go to our safe location. And I'll show our safe location on the next slide. And so I know that can be difficult, because it's a decision that has to be made in the moment. It's not a decision we can always plan for. But when we talked about, the video feed, for example, if I know an intruder is by the cafeteria and I'm able to get on the intercom and say that, then it probably would make sense for those classrooms on the south side of the building maybe to exit and go to our safe location. And so the map on the left, you'll see 2 stars. And these are 2 intersections that no matter what door you exit from, we could lead our classes around that way to then make our way to Oak Hill Bible Fellowship, which is on the right-hand map in this red circle. And so you'll see Vogel. Oak Hill Bible Fellowship is right up here down Oak Hill Road. Now, in the event that there is an intruder, our building will be surrounded by police. There will be no traffic. And so teachers and students will be able to go across the street to get to the sidewalk, to get to Oak Hill Bible Fellowship. These stars are not the only 2 places you can cross the street. I just put them there as a reference. When we practice in the drill next week, if you are a class that does evacuate, when you do, we do not have to practice going all the way to Oak Hill Bible Fellowship. But if you exit from the north side of the building, just take your class or classes to the corner of this field and line up there. And then if you exit on the other side of the building, take your classes to that back playground and line up back there, just as a practice of running that way and getting kids used to staying moving, but an organized movement. If you are evacuating, the purpose is to create movement. When you create movement, it causes confusion for an intruder. During this drill, we can, since it's really one of the first times we've practiced the evacuation, we can designate certain rooms to evacuate. And so Mrs. Owen and myself, we will tell certain teachers to evacuate, and we will let you know personally if you are one that is going to evacuate during this next drill. And then we will touch base at the staff meeting on April 30th just to debrief, talk about how it went, and then answer any questions that you all may have. And please don't hesitate to reach out beforehand with any additional questions. Because if a question comes up that maybe is something I need to clarify or a good point that I have failed to address on this slideshow, then I will address it with the whole staff via email.